the one tree, neither can we touch it lest we die. But we're going to make sure we know what kind of fruit this was, brothers and sisters, because this is what you got to avoid to this day. Get this message, and you will figure out what the theme is throughout the whole Bible concerning this topic. Beware poison. Do not eat. It's a label right on the bottle. Go ahead, verse 4.
The serpent said unto the woman, Ye shall not surely die, for God doth know in the day that ye eat thereof, then your eyes shall be opened, and ye shall be as gods, knowing good and evil.
See, the serpent lied right away. God said in Genesis 2, we read it, if you eat of this tree, you shall surely die. The serpent said just the opposite, you shall not surely die. Preachers tell you at funerals where the person not surely dead, they really not dead, they went on to heaven. They lying just like Satan lied. They are lying to you. The person is dead and will be dead until the resurrection. See, so they following suit with their master, the serpent. But then he said, well, you're going to be like God. God know you're going to be like him, knowing your eyes going to be open, you're going to know good and evil. Now, that was true, but you're still going to die. Go ahead, verse 6.
When the woman saw that the tree was good for food, and that it was pleasant to the eyes, and a tree to be desired to make one wise, she took of the fruit thereof, and did eat, and gave also unto her husband with her, and he did eat.
See, now they ate some fruit, brothers and sisters. But God cautioned them that this fruit came from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, not an apple tree. So if you believe that lie, you should get away from it in a hurry so you will know what this is really about. So you will get this message and will be a lot more cautious. Be downright suspicious when it comes to the teaching you get from a so-called man of God. So they ate of it, and the husband, he followed suit and he ate. And what happened? Verse 7.
And the eyes of them both were open, and they knew that they were naked.
Now, all of a sudden, presto, they knew that they was naked. Their eyes was open. In other words, their mind. They were enlightened spiritually. So they were enlightened and they knew some things. Now, you don't know some things from eating an apple or eating any fruit. You don't know anything from that. You know it because you get information from a source. And that's what they did. It just was the wrong source. So they knew that they was naked. What they do?
And they sewed fig leaves together and made themselves aprons.
See, they sewed some fig trees because the one they was talking to told them, y'all don't even know y'all naked. And they knew it then. Just like a baby won't know that they are naked or that it matters until you tell them. They'd go out in the street and walk down the street naked until somebody said, well, look, you can't do this. You can't come outside without clothes on. You got to put clothes on. Then they say, oh. Then the baby know what naked means. But that's what happened to Adam and Eve. Go ahead.
And they heard the voice of the Lord God walking in the garden in the cool of the day. And Adam and his wife hid themselves from the presence of the Lord God amongst the trees of the garden. And the Lord God called unto Adam and said unto him, Where art thou?
Now the Lord walking through the garden, they heard him talking, because both of them was there, the father and the son. That's another lesson. But they heard him talking, and they started running, and the Lord called, said, Adam, where art thou? And what did Adam say? Verse 10.
And he said, I heard thy voice in the garden, and I was afraid, because I was naked, and I hid myself.
Now, Adam came clean. He said, well, I heard you, and I was afraid since I was naked, and I hid myself. Adam spilled the beans already, but the Lord knew it. So what's the first thing come out the Lord's mouth? Verse 11.
And he said, Who told thee that thou was naked?
Oh, you know what the Lord said? Who told thee that thou was naked? I told you he knew because of talking to somebody. An apple didn't let him know he was naked. He ate this bad fruit. In other words, he got this information. And included in that information was that he was naked. So the Lord said, oh, who told you that you was naked? Go ahead.
Hast thou eaten of the tree whereof I commanded thee that thou shouldest not eat?
Then he said, have you eaten of the tree? But that let us know eating of the tree consisted of listening to somebody tell them some things.
That's right.
That's what eating of the tree is. That's why the title is Beware Poison, Do Not Eat. Do not eat anything with your mind, people. You got to make sure you're getting the truth. That's why we reading the Bible. And we letting it interpret itself. We're not going to tell you what eating of the tree was. We're going to let the Bible tell you what that fruit consisted of. So now let's go to Hosea, the 10th chapter. All the way to Hosea. Hosea is right after Daniel if you're trying to keep up with us. We move fast. So you got to learn how to do some Bible reading to keep up with us. But you can write it down and you can look it up later and find it if you can't get to it quick enough now. But it's going to be there. It don't change. Hosea, the 10th chapter, and we're going to look at how the type of fruit that Adam and Eve ate. Even though this is another instance, it relates to the same very thing that took place in the garden because they ate from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. They ate some fruit that caused them to die. This is very serious. Hosea 10, and we're going to pick it up at verse 13. Go ahead, brother.
Ye have plowed wickedness. Ye have reaped iniquity.
Go ahead.
Ye have eaten the fruit of lies.
Oh, the Lord talking to Israel later on, many years later, but it's the same program. It's the same directive. They ate the wrong fruit. He said, ye have plowed wickedness. Ye have reaped iniquity, because you reap what you plow. You reap what you sow. Ye have eaten the fruit of lies, he told them. The fruit of lies. You ate it. That's what Adam and Eve ate. They ate the first lie. Satan told them, you should not surely die, after God had told them the truth of the matter. If you eat of this tree, you are going to die. So they believed that lie, and they went on ahead and disobeyed God and continued to conversate and get information from this tree, from this source. So they did the same thing. They ate the fruit of lies, brothers and sisters. That's what you got to look out for. But now let's go to Matthew, the 7th chapter. That's what you got to look out for. That's why the title is Beware, Poison, Do Not Eat. The Lord showed you this story with the first man that he created, and this is a consistent theme, a consistent message from God to you throughout the Bible. Beware. Don't eat the wrong teaching. Don't eat the wrong fruit. Notice what he said. Jesus is going to tell us the same thing. Matthew 7, and pick it up at verse 15. Matthew 7 and 15. Okay, brother, go ahead.
Beware of false prophets.
See, there go the sign again. See, the label is on the bottle. Now, this is Jesus himself. You say you believe in Jesus. Do you believe what he's saying here? People say, well, I know my preacher. I know, brother, he's a man of God. He's not no false prophet. And I asked him, I said, well, when you first went to that church, did you even consider, were you cautious enough to consider that he possibly could be a false prophet and you need to check him out? And the answer is always no, because they wasn't even thinking about that. But this is what the Lord tell you to think about, so you're not listening to Jesus. That's why I said if you end up in the lake of fire next to your preacher, you ain't going to have nobody to blame because the label was on the bottle. It was warning. Jesus said what?
Beware of false prophets.
Beware of false prophets, he said. Go ahead.
Which come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are ravening wolves.
Now, they're not going to come to you looking like a false prophet, so you got to have some discernment. Mm-hmm. You got to be paying attention and deciphering whether or not they're telling you what the Lord say or they are lying to you. And 9 out of 10, brothers and sisters, they lying to you. Because in Matthew 24, Jesus said in the last days there will be many false prophets. Not a handful, not 2, 3. Many false prophets, he said. So he said they come to you in sheep's clothing, but on the inside they got a whole nother agenda. Verse 16, how you going to recognize them?
Ye shall know them by their fruit.
Oh, they got some fruit, huh? Mm-hmm. Is it apples and oranges?
No, sir.
You should know them by their fruit, though. You're going to listen to what they say. And you're going to see if it's what the Lord say. If the Lord tell me that he going to set a kingdom up on this